Hey everybody, welcome back to Storehouse Farms and Wellness. Welcome to our farm. It is, let's see here, it's mid-May. I think it's like the 16th, 17th, maybe 18th, I'm not sure. I don't get off the farm very often. But today what we're doing is we're planting actually several different things into a field that's already been planted with cover crop. And what we use to plant our cover crop, you can see right over here, that planter right there is about a 100-year-old planter. It's a 1920s Lister 2-row. We've modified the plates in it to actually be able to plant a variety of different things. And so this cover crop mix actually is a grazing popcorn, sunflowers, let's think, peas, beets, sugar beets, and a type of sorghum. And so what we're going to end up doing with that is in the fall we'll run the hogs through. But in the meantime, what we can do is we can plant a cash crop. And we have actually quite a few different varieties of cash crop in here. Now some of these, they're going to actually compete pretty bad with this cover crop that we did. So for example, here along with our watermelon, so you see this, ground cover there. It's a biodegradable USDA certified organic paper mulch, and it's actually made from recycled products. So it's actually well worth the investment. It stops really any and all type of competition because watermelon are not good competitors. They're really weak competitors to start off. And so I don't want them to try to have to battle through the corn and the milo and things like that. So we're going to sneak in a cash crop. We're going to have watermelon. We're going to have cantaloupe. Currently I'm doing a type of bush bean, French filet bean. So I'm sneaking those in here, and actually as you can see here if you want to zoom in, so this was planted with the Lister planter a week and a half ago, maybe a week ago, and here we got sunflowers coming up and milo, sunflowers. Here's a turnip. There were turnips in that mix too. And so why we like to plant into a living cover, oh, and here's acorn squash. This is one of our cash crops. We do about, I think we did 4 rows of acorn squash in this 300-foot long field. So the reason that we like to plant directly into a living cover crop for a multitude of reasons. So number one, we can grow bacon at the end of the year by sending them through and basically gleaning, right? They're gonna pick up the last little bits of cash crop that we did not decide to get, or that we decided not to get. But then also, of course, they're gonna have access to the bounty that is, that's gonna be in here from this really good diverse cover crop. And then so not only does it feed pigs, make bacon, but it's also sequestering crazy amounts of carbon. So like here's forage peas or field peas. Those sequester nitrogen, which then helps to feed the corn, since corn's a heavy feeder of nitrogen. And so it's and then squash, of course, and turnips. Turnips help to break up compaction and build carbon. And the higher your carbon content, the more nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium and such that your soil has the capacity to hold. So basically, the more carbon, the more beautiful black soil. This is first year cultivation of this field. We actually just turned this. Regrettably, we had to turn the sod in order to break up some of the grasses to be able to plant it. But so this is kind of a multi-purpose field, as all of our fields are, and really our primary goal is actually to sequester carbon and grow pigs. And then, of course, in the meantime, I can make several $1,000s off this little half-acre patch of dirt, quote-unquote dirt, soil. Don't talk to an ecologist about dirt. There's no such thing. If there's life in it, it's soil. And so we're going to turn this little half-acre into a whole bunch of bacon and several $1,000s worth of cash crop. It's really easy to do. I would encourage everybody to do this at home. Especially coming into some of our potential challenges with food insecurity due to whatever reason the government wants to tell you. I would strongly recommend doing this. So here's the other cool thing, right? So we are not only are we going to build a lot of soil, a whole lot of soil because of the diversity of our root system. The more diverse our root system means the more different types of microbes that we can feed through the different types of root exudates, right? The things that your plant secretes to go feed the fungi that then in turn refeeds your plant. So the more different types of plants that you have, the more different types of mycorrhizal fungi and nematodes and bacteria that your soil can support. And therefore that total overall increase in biodiversity that increase in biodiversity actually will make for a more healthy ecosystem. Here in a little bit, we're going to actually go check out what happens with your cash crop once it has been planted in. We have beautiful broccoli right now that's ready for harvest here in middle of May that we've been harvesting off of, and it's planted into a living cover crop. People think that we're crazy to do it, but we can prove that it works. So I really strongly encourage you. You can change the world just by sequestering some carbon, feeding some people, and just having a really healthy ecosystem. So in humans, what we like to do is we like to have a monoculture crop, right? Because it really simplifies our processes. We can use the same chemical on the same field, and it's not going to affect our cash crop, right? Or we can come through with the same type of equipment and plant the same stuff and harrow the same stuff, and it's not going to affect our cash crop. Versus if we have polyculture going on, if we have a lot of different things growing in one location, that becomes challenging, right? But if you look at a natural ecosystem, we're going to zoom over here. If you look at a natural ecosystem, let's look at this. So here we are, we're in southeast Nebraska. We have a whole bunch of native and naturalized plants here, and some invasives. But right here, we have wild alfalfa. Here we have pennyroyal. It's a type of brassica. It's edible, it's good stuff. Here's yellow dock, here's stinging nettle. Here's buttonweed. Here's, this is brome. So in a little couple square foot patch, oh, I didn't even identify them all. Here's dandelion, here's shepherd's purse, great medicine, etc. So in one little patch of ground, you have things that thrive, right? The quote unquote weeds. Well, the weeds thrive because the weeds are in with other weeds. And so therefore, due to that diversity, you have healthy soil. If you focus on your plants, you're not going to have healthy plants. If you focus on your soil, you'll have healthy plants. So don't ever focus on your plants. Focus on your soil. Build good soil, you'll have healthy plants. If you focus on having healthy plants, you're going to have shit soil because you're going to have one type of plant. So, so we're finishing up this row here real quick with a type of French bean. It's a filet bean. It's really tender. It's lovely. My planter my push planter malfunctioned on me, so I'm going to be planting the rest of these by hand. We did about 200 foot worth of row so far. I'm going to finish up this row, and then we're going to take a look at how we plant small seeded things into our already planted field. It's really not glorious or anything super cool, but that's kind of how we roll here at Storehouse Farms. Check it out. Okay guys, so again we kind of demonstrated the principle. It's super simple, of course. You can do it with literally a couple $100 worth of equipment, or just even a hoe. It just takes longer. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go back up to one of our other market plots, and we're going to take a look and see what it looks like actually after the practice has been completed, and after a little bit of irrigation, a little bit of God-sent rain, and see what type of market garden we can have planting into a living cover crop. So we're going to head that way. Hey everybody, so here we're up in a different plot, and I'm going to show you the benefits of planting into a living cover crop, like what we had discussed, what we were just doing. So this plot, we planted a living cover in here in about mid-March. We have applied 0 inches of overhead irrigation. We've done a little bit of drip tape on some of the cash crop, but overall though, this whole plot has had 0 inches of irrigation, and this year we were in a really severe drought. We're at about 5.5 inches of total precip since January, which means we're probably about 10 inches below normal month to date total precip. So it is dry, like really dry here in southwestern Jefferson County. And with that in mind, look out at this beautiful cover crop. This is what a cover crop should look like. This is just phenomenal. Here we have peas, we got wheat, I think I got oats in here too. We have turnips in this one, and crimson clover. So this is a really good cover crop that doesn't compete much with our brassicas, such as our broccoli and cabbage and Brussels sprouts. And so in this plot we've done peas, we've done broccoli, we've done bush beans, we've done Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and onions. Now we have our onions down towards the bottom of the plot, kind of off over towards the trees for a multitude of reasons. That's one of our dry land onion crop areas. But anyways, let's check our soil moisture here on the bottom of this root clump. So it's pretty dry, it's breaking apart, but you can also see though, I mean, it's moist enough, it's actually holding on to that root ball. And again, we're at 5.5 inches of precip, so when I say we're dry, we're dry, we're almost a desert. But anyway, so in here, this goes to show that planting into a living cover crop, as long as you're utilizing plants that are good companion plants, so things that are providing synergy for one another, it's an absolute tremendous benefit. So look at this Brussels sprout. This has got crazy amounts of competition in here. I don't even weed. Look, that's all right from the base. I don't bother weeding, and we don't feed. Oh, there's sunflowers in this mix too, I forgot about that. So it really all depends upon what's in your cover crop mix. But look at these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rows of Brussels sprouts. These were put into the ground as transplants. I think second week in April is little itty bitty nothing transplants. And so they've been in the ground for a month, and they're just doing fantastic. So again, like I was talking about how the more diverse your root system is, the more diverse your mycorrhizal fungi can be, the more diverse your nematodes, the more diverse your bacteria, and those are the things that feed your plants. It's not your soil, it's not the nutrients in your soil. The nutrients are just your macronutrients that your plants can utilize, but all your micronutrients, all your trace nutrients, those are things that require fungi and bacteria to literally go out and harvest and mine. And so when you only have one variety of plant in a field or in a plot within your garden, when you only have one variety in your field, you only have one thing to feed one certain assemblage, so a specific group of microorganisms. You only have one type of root system to feed a whole assemblage of microorganisms. So obviously you're going to have microorganisms start dying off, right? And then you're going to have a lower diversity, which means there's literally actually less overall micronutrients for your plants. Which means you're going to have less healthy plants. You might have bigger plants than what I have here. They might be bigger at an earlier date, but I guarantee they're going to be more stressed. Look at this. Look at this. We don't treat with anything. With nothing. There's no neem on this, there's no diatomaceous earth. And you look through here, I guarantee you that we have more insects than almost any garden that you would ever. It's middle of the heat of the day, it's bloody hot right now, but so most stuff would be underneath. But look, no insect pressure. We're going to come up here and take a look at broccoli. I'm going to convince you folks to start doing polyculture. If you're not going to do permaculture, do polyculture. It's great. Grow lots of stuff in any given space. I can come through here and I can harvest out of this one is about a 40-foot by 50-foot plot. I could probably harvest a literal ton of food out of this little plot. And most of it is just a cover crop. But it's all edible and it's all good. Check check out these cabbages. I hardly see any insect damage. Look at that. That, my friend, some really nice, oh goodness, yeah, there's a weed. Ragweed. But I don't see hardly any insect damage on these. It really makes a big difference for overall health of your soil, which means overall health of your plants. It's kind of like the health of your intestine. If you have a oh, looky there, honeybee. The soil is the plant's intestine. So if you have an unhealthy intestine, if you have an unhealthy gut, if your gut microbes are out of whack, you're not going to be able to absorb nutrients properly, and you're going to get sickly. You're just not going to grow right. Whether that's you, your dog, your cat, your kid, whatever it is. Same with the plants. It's the same thing. It's the exact same principle. And so that's why I'm going to really advocate planting into a living cover. This is the type of stuff we got. So this is a broccolini. It's a broccoli rabe. So it's not it's like a loose head broccoli. So they don't make really tight florets, but they handle the heat really well. But if you look down here, even way down here into the stems and the leaves, look at all that supposed root competition, right? You can't find a square inch of uncovered soil there. And you know what? We leave it like that all year long. Make sure to keep your soil covered. That's one of the most fundamentally important principles within soil ecology. Don't have bare soil. We're coming into a dust bowl around here. There's been dust storms that look like they match the Sahara Desert here in Nebraska, and throughout a lot of the Midwest and you know, the western portion of the United States. And that wouldn't happen if we just kept our soil covered. There's no such thing as dust storms unless you're in a Sahara Desert. But we're in Nebraska. This is supposed to be some of the most fertile soil on the planet is right here, so it should be covered at all times. If it's not covered, we're doing something wrong. So even if you have a little itty bitty garden plot, do yourself a favor and do everyone else a favor and keep that covered. Check this out. We're going to have so many sunflowers, and you know what? Here within about a week and a half, they're going to be growing up, and they're going to be providing partial shade over our broccoli. And that partial shade is going to prevent our broccoli from bolting. So all this is all bolted, right? So but they send up little side shoots, and these will all turn into nice heads of broccoli, right? So off of each plant, I can get a lot of different heads of broccoli, but not if they all bolt. Well, these sunflowers, they're all going to be taller than this in literally probably just a couple days. And when that happens, that's going to help keep these from bolting on us, which means we're going to get a nice prolonged harvest window. We have 3 nice rows in here. They're 30-foot long rows, so 90 foot of broccoli. We actually planted these closer on space than what you're supposed to. We planted these a foot within a row, plant spacing, and only 8 inches in between row. They say I think 36 inches between row and 18 inches within a row. We have healthier, happier broccoli with more productivity than I've ever seen on any other farm. And we're planting closer than what they recommend. And we don't augment, you know, we barely feed. Some things we do feed a little bit, but it's so minimal. It is so minimal. We just focus on soil health. That's all that you got to do. So check out here. Here's a nice row of broccoli that were not held under a hoop house. These were planted straight out. The ones that are a little bit more developed, more advanced, they were under a hoop house for about the first month of their life. These ones have not been. Look how healthy they are. They're about 6 inches, 8 inches shorter. But look at that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful broccolini. That is just healthy. Another thing, I want to touch on a really, really, really quick, simple principle. We'll make another video about it. But just real quick before we go, we're going to discuss insect pressure, right? So looky here. That's probably from leaf hoppers. See that little bit of insect damage? Man, that's probably from leaf hoppers. Or maybe, oh, there went a cucumber beetle. Might have been a cucumber beetle. That one wasn't. Whatever. So most producers, they immediately upon seeing a little bit of this, they freak out and they think, oh God, the bugs are going to get my crop. So the idea of coming out and treating for a prey insect, right, an herbaceous insect, or I guess an herbivorous insect, not herbaceous, an herbivorous insect, you come out here and you treat with permethrin or whatever it is that you treat with, and you're going to kill off some of that insect, but that's the pest. They're like cockroaches. There's going to be 10 for every one that you see, and actually in this case there's going to be 100 for every one that you see. Versus for every one large predaceous beetle or spider or whatever that you see that you kill, there's probably only 2 or 3 hiding, right? Because it's a large thing, it's not going to hide as well. So you're going to come through and you're going to treat because you happen to see a few bug bites. And you know what you're going to do? You're going to kill about 10% of your pest organisms, and you're going to kill about 60% of your beneficials. You know, for every single pest organism in the garden, there are over 50 beneficials. So when you come through and you treat for stuff because you're afraid it's going to lose your crop, you know what I suggest to you to do? Not a darn thing. Don't do anything. Literally nothing. If it kills that plant, well, that plant was stressed. I got a great example. We're gonna look at one thing just to demonstrate this principle real quick. So to be able to demonstrate the principle, we're going to take a look right here. Here's a filet bean. It was planted about a month ago. It was planted early in the year. It was colder than it should have been soil temps, you know, so in order to augment that, of course I used a row cover, used a floating row cover. But if you look at this plant, and most of these along here, these haven't been treated with anything. And I guarantee you, oh, well, there went a bean beetle right there. Mexican bean beetle. Those will destroy your crop right away. I'm not too worried about it. Yep, that's got a bug bite on it. Yep, for sure. This one's got a few bites on it. But you know why I'm not too worried about it is due to the simple fact that my soil is really healthy and I overplant. And I make sure that I have predaceous organisms. I have predaceous stuff, right? So if you look at these, that is a really good looking bean plant. And 90% of them within these 2 rows, super healthy looking, okay? This was good soil right here. Now, we're gonna go 3 or 4 rows up to an area where I had a hog locked up last year for too long, and it beat up the soil and it caused a lot of soil compaction. And we're gonna take a look at the same plant that was planted at the same time. Let's go check it out. So as compared to the plants in this row, see that? There's a bean beetle right there. Right there on that one. You know why I'm not going to kill him though? Because he's going to take the sick, the weak, and the stressed plants. You see this? You see how thick I planted these? Goodness. We got, in 1 foot, we have 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 bean plants. Super healthy soil. But in 1 foot, we have 8 bean plants. I think they call for 8-inch or 12-inch spacing. I just plant the daylights out of them, and then the healthy ones survive. So like basically what I'm advocating is try to mimic nature, right? So plants in nature, they're going to produce crazy amounts of seeds. They're going to send those seeds out, and what survives does great. What doesn't dies. That's just how it works. And so also though, as I was talking about the soil, so this soil up here, this was really heavily compacted by a hog that I had locked up for a specific reason for way too long. Look at these poor plants. This row may not even survive. Look at that. That's horrible. And we're literally 3 feet from the row that was super healthy. Look at that. Looks like lace. So next time that we tune in, we're going to discuss some of the other principles about soil health, such as compaction, and which actually slows down nutrient cycling and things like that, and what we can do to help it. And so you can see here we have some other cover crop planted up here, specifically to help with compaction. So until that time, stay tuned. Check us out on Facebook. You can always check out our store. Go to storehouse51.org. That's storehouse51.org. And there you can always check out our store. You can contact us. You can sign up for events. Sign up for our newsletter just to stay informed. Thanks for checking us out. God bless. And one more thing, just make sure to check out our CSA shares. That stands for Community Supported Agriculture. It's not just our produce, but we also contract with other really reputable producers that are here in southeastern Nebraska who bring a really good product to you and your family while stewarding the land first and foremost. Most important thing to us and to them as well. Should be to you too. God bless you. Check us out.